Well, Brother Herman, I never heard the rally or I didn't see the call of people saying we need to do something about this. I started seeing the numbers that said black people. See, now when we talk about negative stuff, it's okay to say black.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, people will become more comfortable now when we're talking about black folks are not achieving educationally or economically, or we have the highest proportion of health disparities.
Yes,
now people are becoming more comfortable.
Right.
Because the other side makes you feel uncomfortable because people think that we would do to others what was done to us. But I don't think that's human, and I don't think that that's who we are.
Right.
But anyway, there was a virus that was impacting our community when this society was erroneously and viciously targeting gay white men,
Right.
saying that this was a disease of gay white men. They even called it GRIDS. They called it like the gay cancer. And I can remember the society throwing off a community saying that's what they get.
Right.
It's a plague. It's a,
Yeah.
that's all of that stuff. And while people were turning their back on the community, it's another example. Our community and other communities were being impacted because HIV is largely a sexually transmitted disease,
Right.
or dealt or contracted through intravenous drug use. Today, it's virtually unheard of to say somebody's contracted AIDS or HIV through blood transfusion. That's
Right.
not true anymore because science has caught up with the virus, a very intelligent virus.
Right.
But anyway, to make a long story short, I was saying, well, why are our numbers so high?
Right.
What are we doing that others are not doing? What is it that is making our community, and particularly our women, more susceptible and contributing to over half of the new infections in a year are through our community?
Right.
So where was the activism around that? And that's why we created the Community Health Initiative, because it is true. There are many in our community who are HIV positive.
Right.
They are silent and often ignored because it's stigma. We don't like to talk about drugs, and we don't like to talk about sex.
Right.
And so when those issues come up, we tend to turn around, and let alone talking about HIV. When I started running into people who were HIV positive and seeing that they couldn't talk to their family members, they had separate plates, separate cups, separate bowls, separate sheets, separate areas, couldn't hug their nieces and nephews, it was just heartbreaking. And beyond our community, HIV is a universal problem. But the reason we approach it from a black perspective is because, just like we were talking about that black liberation theology, there are certain ways and certain modalities that we have to do to bring this conversation into our community.
Right.
And so that's what we've been doing, and we collaborate with all people of different backgrounds, agencies such as It Takes a Village, Colorado AIDS Project, North Cap, BCAP. It doesn't matter, because people are hurting. And we just want to bring out the basic information that HIV is virtually 100% preventable.
Right.
And the way you can prevent it is, one, having sex with a condom if you don't know your status or the status of the person you're involved with. If you're involved with intravenous drugs, make sure you're not sharing needles.
Right.
These are things that we can do. But then, of course, there are other things that we can do. We can realize that it's a myth that this is a gay white male disease.
Right.
We can get away from saying, if I have HIV, I want the kind that Magic Johnson has. This is insane. I did work with Magic Johnson, and if you talk with Magic Johnson, he's going to tell you, I'm not cured.
Right.
I have the same medication that you have. The difference is I take my medication, I have a positive attitude, I've cut out all of the things that would impair my health, such as smoking and alcohol, and I am living my life.
Right.
So we want to say there's a cure. I can't afford the drugs that Magic has.
Right.
But the fact is, through our community health initiative, through the state and around this country, you can afford the drugs. We can make sure that that takes place, because there are funding mechanisms to make sure no one has to struggle with being without medication.
Yes, sir. Now, you said it's not a gay white male disease, obviously. Is it true? You know, this is the information that I've gotten, that it's the highest, the most highly affected group are black women.
Yeah, that's true. Black women are largely impacted. However, it's still a lot of gay men. And there are reasons for that, but I don't want it to be thought that if you consider yourself not gay or straight or whatever, that you're not at risk.
Right.
There is a problem with this high incidence of black women, and there's another community within our community, gay black men or same gender loving men,
Right.
who are being vilified by saying, oh, that's these men on the down low.
down low.
They're the ones, they're the
Right.
cause. Our studies and our research has found that it's much deeper than that. That's just another excuse to say that there's a boogeyman that is causing this problem. There's no boogeyman. What I want to tell you is that HIV is transmitted not because a boogeyman is coming to get you. It's transmitted through vaginal fluid, semen, breast milk, and infected blood.
Yes,
if you put yourself at risk for one of those fluids, you could be at risk for HIV and AIDS. So know your status, know your partner, and have the efficacy, if you can, to make sure that you are the primary person who's in control of your health. And that's not always the case.
Right.
You know, there are abusive relationships, there are places where people are raped, etc.
Right.
But by and large, you can protect yourself.
Yes, sir. Now, time is running up on us. We got about 5 minutes left. I'm telling you, it just flies. It flies when you have fun. But
let me say one thing.
Yeah, just
because
what's next?
World
brother?
AIDS Day was on the 1st.
Okay.
And, you know, one of the main things about these days, such as World AIDS Day or Black AIDS Day or any of those days, is to continue to put this issue on the forefront and let people know that it has not gone away. The medications can sometimes hide or mask the fact that there's a problem because people are living more with a chronic illness than a death sentence. But I want you to know that sometimes you don't see the impact that those medications are having on people. You're not seeing that they're having night sweats and dreams and have to be gauge where they're at because of the restroom, all kinds of different things. So we just want to put it out the forefront that HIV is still a problem, issue.
Yes,
we as a community still have to attack it and be diligent.
You know, if people want to get involved, websites, numbers, anything you want to give out?
They want to get involved. You can reach me at www.brotherjeff.com, or you can call 303-297-0823. You can question me about anything that I've said, because I can tell you that the majority of what you probably heard is being misunderstood or heard through a filter because of some of the names that we've mentioned. But you know just as well as I, we work with Martin Luther King and Malcolm. We can have it all in our community.
Absolutely.
Some are more pleasing to others because they're more comfortable and make you feel more comfortable. But I'm telling you, Dr. King was not something to be comfortable about because he had a black liberation theology, if you listen to some of those lectures in their entirety.
You know, the newest American gangster is J. Edgar Hoover and the COINTELPRO. And he said Martin Luther King was the most dangerous Negro in America. So he had to have a black liberation theology. Again, that was brotherjeff.com. If you have any questions, and the number again is 303-297-0823. Or you can email me, brotherjeff1@earthlink.net. I'll return your email and we can talk it out online. Beautiful. So again, visit brotherjeff.com. And listen, man, the time has flew. It's been a very informative show. And this is the most informative hour on cable television, brother. They just not knowing.
Well, they know.
They soon will know.
Well, when you 20 years from now, when you're looking at all these tapes and those files.
Right. All right, so I want to encourage everyone to pick up the latest edition of the Final Call newspaper. This is the greatest paper on the planet, the baddest and the boldest, the coolest and the coldest, the Final Call newspaper. And you can pick that up at 3305 Downing Street, or
at the Black Experience and Supreme Style Barbers at 7230 East Colfax Avenue. I want to thank our guest, Brother Jeff, again and again and again for coming. I want to thank our brother behind the glass, Brother Corey, 2X, the brother. So nice they had to X him twice. Thank our cameraman, Brother Anson, Brother Nasheed. Thank Brother Saeed from Supreme Style Supreme. Thank you all. Tune in next week. Same black time,